Nikita, I want to ask you about the sentiment around robots, but also artificial intelligence. I think there are quite a few people who are pretty afraid of artificial intelligence, whether you're talking about sentience or just simply job replacement or new technology. And then when you kind of factor in the embodied experience or the embodied application of artificial intelligence, it becomes so much more real. How do you think we should be talking about robots? How do you think we can get more of society to be in the bullish, the pro column of supporting this new technology that really is going to be transformational?
That's a great question. I'll start with the sentient part. What I find really interesting is the more you know how it works, the less likely you are to think that it's sentient. Even though when you see it from the outside, like, especially if it's a humanoid robot, and we work on a robot from a company called Unitree, the Unitree G1, which is a
Yeah.
very small humanoid, so it looks like a
Mhm.
child. And when that thing trips and falls and like hits its face on the ground, it really hurts. It hurts to see that. So we're immediately projecting some emotions on these machines because they look human and they move in a human-like way. Um,
I'm pretty sure Matt pushed one of those at CES.
Well, you don't need to remind it. I mean, come
um, right, but again, I think the more you know what's under the hood, the less human it feels. Um, I thought that could be one way to educate people on like explaining more and more what's under the hood, because there are pros, but also definitely cons in giving it human characteristics that it doesn't really have. And then the more societal question of what happens when these robots actually take over a significant part of the jobs, it is definitely a trickier one. But then here I'll play a little trick and talk about the other world where we don't have these robots. So right now, what we're seeing is that AI is automating all sorts of creative, academic, digital, intellectual jobs, but not the manual ones. So what tends to happen is that you'll ask your AI how to repair your bike. And it will tell you, grab this tool, do this thing, and then report back, and I'll give you the next instruction. So we are kind of becoming the hands of the AI. And I think that world is way worse than the opposite, where we get to tell robots what to do and they go and do the manual work.
I think throughout humanity, fear has mostly stemmed from lack of understanding. And so I really appreciate that perspective on it, where it's like how do we get people to really understand what's going on? And it's tough because artificial intelligence today is such a black box, literally. And then when you put it in the humanoid robot form factor, it just becomes, I think a lot of people unfortunately have sci-fi movie references as their only reference. So I think it's just like understanding plus showing the positive benefits. I do agree with that. Um, I want to talk for a moment, just to switch topics for a second. You're in Zurich. Talk a little bit about the choice to be in Zurich, and then also what the startup and tech scene is like there.
That's another very important question. The choice to be here was very simple because we are four co-founders, all from the same lab from ETH, which is it's actually one of the world's best universities that happens to be in Zurich. And at the very beginning, when we incorporated the company, we had the choice to stay here or go to the US. But I guess our unfair advantage by being here is that we're the most or one of the most exciting things happening in the tech scene in Zurich, right? Whereas once you're in the middle of San Francisco, there are just so many things. It's so much harder to attract talent. So talent is the main reason why we have our team in Zurich today.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We talked to the Lovable CEO few weeks back now, and he said a very similar thing. How there's a lot of talent where they are in Europe, but
That don't
because there's less
necessarily want to move
competition.
here to the US.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So anyway, you
exactly.
were please continue.
I mean, the opposite is also true. We see that there is also obviously great talent in the US, and they also don't necessarily want to go back to Europe. So we will have a smaller team in San Francisco very soon. Well, I think we need both, but we definitely don't want to move the whole team to the Bay Area. And
There are worse places in the world to live than Zurich.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
exactly,
It is
that,
quite
that is kind
beautiful
of a
there.
challenge.
Yeah,
Once you live
yeah.
here, it's very hard to go anywhere else.
You mentioned commercial over kind of residential applications, at least to begin. Where do you see the deployment opportunities in the commercial setting? Is it primarily going to be in warehouses to begin? Is it going to be in factories? Like, where are the specific deployment opportunities that you're most excited about?
So what's interesting is that you get the same kind of tasks in manufacturing, logistics, and retail actually. And it's all around fairly simple things. It's all manipulating boxes and either putting things into a box or taking things out. So in a factory, at the end of the production line, you have to maybe build a cardboard box, put some things in. It's what they call the kitting operation. You close the box, you put it in the truck, and then that box goes to a logistics warehouse where they take it out, they process it, they mix it with others, put it on pallets, something like that. And then that pallet goes to a supermarket or some retail store of some sort where the exact opposite operation happens. You take that box off the pallet, you bring it somewhere else, you open it, take whatever is inside out, and put it on a shelf. These are the sort of things we're focusing on, and just solving that. And I mean, of course, it's not as easy as it sounds. It has a huge opportunity.
Well, Nikita, I know you have some beer to enjoy, so we don't want to hold you up. Really appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thank you, Nikita. Very cool.
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.